Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Side Boobs and Side Hustles. I'm Britt.
And I'm Shelbs.
We're back at it again.
Back at it again with the podcast episode.
Yee.
Did you just yee?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Oh, well.
All right, I feel like everybody is talking about the Tiger King, so we just have to talk about it for a minute because
Yes.
we have to.
I saw something funny on Facebook.
Yeah?
It was a picture of Joe Exotic, and it says, me explaining Tiger King to my friend. He's like a gay Joe Dirt high on meth who feeds his tigers old Walmart meat. And that's like the voice I heard in my head.
Yeah.
And I was crying laughing for at least 5 minutes.
That is the voice yeah, that's the voice. You did it.
I'm good at a redneck voice.
Well,
I'm half redneck. That's
you
why.
are a redneck.
And then I saw something and it said, this is the genie that appears when you rub a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew.
That's true.
That's very true. And then, like, there's just so many on Facebook. There's another one where it says, I'm telling my kids this was Steve Irwin.
It definitely didn't end like I thought it was.
I thought Carol died.
Yeah, I thought Carol was going to die, yeah.
I didn't know her husband was going to die.
Her husband dies?
Oh. Spoiler alert.
I thought I watched it all.
No, I guess not.
How many episodes are there? 7?
A lot.
Did I fall asleep last night?
I don't know. You need to finish it, girl.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that...
Oops.
Huh. Well. I'll figure it out. I'll watch it. Because I thought I did.
I thought you did too. That's why I said that.
Obviously not. Good to know.
Oh. Okay, so today we are sitting down with Whitney Kistler and talking about becoming newly engaged, becoming a stepmom, and all things skincare.
Her skin is fabulous.
It's so good. I'm so jealous.
She had like such a glow up. Like her skin transformation herself is just woo.
I know. She's going to tell us anything and everything we need to know and what she recommends, and this is something everybody needs to hear. Public service announcement.
Yeah. I personally want her to tell me what to do to myself.
I personally am going to get facials from her from now on.
Yeah. And I've wanted to. For me, I know it's a necessary expense, but it's also an unnecessary expense. Like,
yes,
it's hard for me to get myself to pay for that.
It's like, it's hard to actually pay for like self-help, health
and care.
Yeah. All the things. Yeah,
it is. Especially with skincare, because you pay for the services, but then you also have to like buy all this product to keep up with it.
It's not only taking like medications and having like your own at-home facial remedies, but it's also like a prevention thing too.
Yeah.
And it does cost a lot of money, but in the end it is so worth it, and it's something that not only women but some men should do also.
Yeah, for sure.
Brittany, do you have a high and low?
High key, low key.
Woo woo.
My high. Let me cough.
Corona.
So we are entering Gus into a contest that is being held by Keystone Light. They are on the search for their newest brand ambassador, Little Breezy Keezy, for their new Key-Lightful beer. Mm-hmm. So basically, you have to like post pictures of your dog and why your dog should be Little Breezy Keezy, and you win a year's worth of Key-Lightful, some merch, and $10,000.
I hope it tastes good, but damn.
I know, we haven't tasted it yet. We need to go get some and get the pictures done. So that'll be fun project. And Gus wants to be famous, so we'll do anything for him.
I wish we had a link to post.
I do have a link.
You do have a link?
I do have a link. I can share it.
Post your link in the description.
Yeah.
And everybody who hears this, go like, share, do whatever.
Yeah. I don't know how the voting is. I think we have to enter the pictures by April 10th. And then there's probably a voting. I don't know, but I'll share it.
Okay, sounds good. What's your low?
My low is that my plants are not thriving. I feel like they're dying, and I don't know why.
Are they stressing?
Yeah, look at them wilting. Look
They
at how
horrible.
wilty that one
They
is.
actually look horrible.
I know. I don't know why. I move them around and water them.
Set them outside in like the afternoon.
Okay.
It'd be too cold.
I'll
This
give it a shot.
Struggling.
That one is like rejecting
not
the
surviving
soil.
and not thriving.
I know. I just don't have a green thumb, but I want to.
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
What I have for you, my high key, is finally feeling a little more human and a little less stressed. And I'm so optimistic about my future and my life. And I just love what I am doing for myself. I'm in a good place. I'm in a very good place.
Good.
I don't look like it. I look like shit right now, but
I feel great.
But I feel great on the inside, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. All the extra time that we've had is helping things fall into place.
It is. Ugh, everything just works out, and it's so crazy. Every aspect of my life is working itself out simultaneously.
No need to stress.
Nope. My low is... So this is hard for me because I was thinking for like a good solid 10 minutes on a low, and I really don't have a low.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm just in a really good headspace. And I couldn't think of there's a lot of stressful things in my life, but there's nothing bad that I'm going through right now.
Good.
Which never happens, I feel.
Well, that's fine. We accept that.
I know. So I thought
I
would share that. It's good.
Perfect.
We're good. Check on me tomorrow and see how I am because it changes on a daily basis, I feel.
Might have one in an hour. Let you know.
I promise I am not psycho.
All right. So like we said, we are sitting down with Whitney and she will give us some tips, tricks, and talk about her personal life. So here we go.
Strap on your koozies and hold on to your side boobs, people. It's about to get real.
All right, we are sitting down with Whitney Kissler. Is that how you say your last name?
Kissler.
Yeah, close.
Kissler.
The same. We're going to talk about skincare, starting a business, her recent engagement.
Woo-hoo.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Your ring is beautiful.
Thanks. He did pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
I love
huge.
Yeah,
I just saw it.
it's pretty.
Is it pink?
It's pink. It's a Morganite.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Whitney, give us a little backstory about growing up and how you got to where you are now.
Well, I am from a super small town. It's right a little bit south of here in Wichita. It's Udall, Kansas. And I mean, I just came from parents who worked so hard, and I always never handed anything. I mean, I was very active in sports growing up, and I just think that I've always just been someone who has been forced to work for what I got. Everything
good.
I have, like nothing was handed to me. You know, my parents did not buy my first car. Like everything was just, they made me work, even though they had the finances to give, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of my parents own their own business in the town I'm from. And I think that's kind of maybe where I get my little entrepreneur mindset.
What business do they own?
They own a tire shop.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So
Sweet.
it was my grandfather owned it when he was still around. And then my dad took over. And so now him and my mom both run it.
Cool.
Gotcha. I think it's really important when you aren't handed everything because
100%.
I feel like kids in today's society, they'll have like a really big reality check and realize that they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, exactly. And that's kind of, I mean, also transitioning into being a stepmom, that is one of the things
Yes.
I stand by.
Mm-hmm. Like independence too is
Yeah.
a huge thing when
Yeah.
it comes to that stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And parents, like, keeping their kids busy, like, always doing activities really sets you up to, like, work. Like,
Well, and I
Yeah.
also think there's an art to, I'm recently learning,
Mhm.
to being bored, because I don't think, for one, kids nowadays know how to use their imaginations like
They
we did
don't.
as kids.
Nope.
Like there's just so many things that I used to do as a kid just to keep myself busy that kids don't even think of nowadays. So I think that's just kind of my parents being like, figure it out. And, you know,
Yeah,
even from a
that's-
young age. And I think that
Mhm.
even when I was starting the business, I moved home to my parents' house, which was a huge kind of swallow my pride moment,
Mhm.
because who wants to move home
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
their, you know, mid-20s?
I think
but-
everybody needs that
Mhm.
swallow your pride moment though, because that's when you start getting creative and you get
Mhm.
crafty and you do what
Mhm.
you have to do.
Well, you humble yourself to be like, what do I really want out of life? And if this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make, and to me it was a huge sacrifice because it's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I did it.
I did
And
the same thing
Yeah.
too.
And I wouldn't have been able to start the business and become so things wouldn't have ran as smooth as they have if I had lived on my own and had my personal bills to still be responsible for.
Yeah, I moved in with my parents when I decided I wanted to do photography full time and just work at the hospital, PRN, which is just as needed, because there's no way I would have been able to make it on my own when I was just starting photography.
Well, and you didn't want your business to fail.
No,
you wanted to put every extra dime into the business. Yeah,
I think everybody needs to do that when they start a business.
Have you always wanted to be in skincare, or what started that for you?
I mean, I went to a community college right out of high school because, you know, college, that's what you're supposed to do. And I don't know, I've never been a big school person. I've never done well in school. I have BS'd my way through high school.
I am like a B and C average student. It's very hard for me to focus and study.
My best friend in high school was our valedictorian, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten through.
I was a cheater. I cheated through school.
I cheated through everything.
Thank you for everything you've done to me.
Yes. Yeah. And so I just was always, it just never clicked with me. And so after going to Butler for that year, I just was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not going to class. I'm not doing well in school. And I knew if I told my parents I wasn't going back, like, that would be the end of me.
What was your major? Or what did you
I don't even think I had one. I think liberal arts, because it was just like generic.
Yeah. Generalized.
And so that's when I started doing my research, and I knew I didn't want to do hair, but I did work at a tanning salon when I was in high school, and I remember like all the things we had to learn, and I always absorbed that information pretty well. So I thought, all right, well, whatever, like, let's do this. So I kind of got my parents on board and went from there. And I mean, I wouldn't say I was still kind of in that mindset, even through school, like, oh, la-di-da-di-da, don't know what I'm doing. Just, I'm doing this.
Doing something.
Yeah, just doing something. I took it seriously, but not as seriously as I do now.
Yeah. I think that just comes with age.
It
also.
does. Oh, 100%.
And especially with like us right out of high school being forced to like choose a career.
I think it's insane for a high school senior to know what they want to do for the rest of their life.
High school does not prepare you for college at all, even though the teachers think that that's what they're doing.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, then I failed my state boards twice after school, and I just didn't want to go back because I was afraid to fail again. And finally I pushed through and finally and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my mom. I told nobody I was taking him the third time because I'm like, I cannot tell people I failed 3 times. Lo and behold, I was studying the wrong material. I was studying like the textbooks, not the state board laws.
Like pre-test
like
and stuff
like
that.
So anyways, passed with flying colors the third time.
Good.
And after that was like, all right, okay, let's transition. Like, let's get my life in check. And that's when I really started to pursue my career.
Gotcha.
As an esthetician.
I can't
say
it.
it. Say it.
I can't
try
say it. Esthetician.
That was
Bam.
good.
Easy.
I've been practicing.
No, we really have. We really have been practicing that with her. Gotcha.
So before you started your business, did you work under other people, or what made you want to start your own?
I worked in a pretty big spa here in Wichita for almost 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So during the time there, I actually worked super part-time. So I worked at a medical office during the week. And I mean, that's one thing, this industry, like, it doesn't come overnight. Like, the money doesn't come right away. And so that was like a big sacrifice I made. I worked Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. at an office. And then I worked every single Saturday and Sunday at the spa. So, I mean, I was exhausted all the time. But finally, I did bite the bullet, quit my daytime job, and went over full time. And that's where I felt my career really shift. I was like taking it seriously. I was putting everything into it, where I truly, like, even though I thought I was before, I really wasn't. And after going full time, I felt like I was busier. I was making those client relationships. I was selling product. I just felt a shift in it. And then after about a year, not only was I just not very happy with the workplace, I just really felt like I was plateauing. And I'm like, all right.
That's hard.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so what do I do? Like, and I was talking to a lot of my hairstylist friends and just people who do run their own businesses. I'm like, do I go apply somewhere else and just start over? And
you can only go so high when you're working for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And so I had a few friends that were really like putting some fire under my butt and telling me like, do this, you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. And that's when I just made the decision to do it. And even my parents would be like, well, what are you going to do? You know, what's your plan B? I said, I don't have one because I don't need one. Like, if I fail, like, I fail and I can't fail, so I'm not going to fail.
That's the best mindset to have.
I remember when I told my parents I wanted to go full time with photography, and they were really leery about it. They're like, "Are you sure this is like the right decision?" They were supportive, but they were asking me all the typical like parent questions that they have to ask you.
Do.
Yep. And it was when I was living with them, and I was like, "You guys, like, listen to me. This is what I really want to do, and I'm gonna do it. And I don't have any other option than to succeed, so I'm gonna do what I have to do." Like, I knew I could pay for my monthly bills with working at the hospital, and I could dedicate all of my time to photography.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome. Yeah,
I did it, and
you did it. Yeah, you do it. Like,
you just have to do.
Well, and I think that's what it takes. That's what determines. Like, that's the difference between being successful and being not successful. Is just knowing, like, this could get really tough, but I will handle it and I will deal with it when it comes. Like, and I mean, I just starting up. I'm trying to think of what was the hardest thing, and there was just it just was effortless. Everything was like, smooth.
I don't think anybody that has doubts when it comes to having a business or any sort of like dream or aspiration, if you have a doubt, you're probably not going to make it.
You're not ready. Yeah.
You're not going to.
Yeah.
It's not
and I
have
have a lot of people that ask me, like, you know, because who are wanting to kind of, who admire me or like reach out to me or who've shadowed me and they're like, what can I do? And I'm like, I mean, if you're unsure, then you're not going to, you know, then don't do it. Because like when I did it, there was not a doubt in my mind. I was like, go, 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 go. Every single day. I mean, I was off work. I was in my parents' garage building furniture, reupholstering furniture. Like,
I listened to podcasts and YouTube videos every second that I could, and I loved it. I loved it so much. And it's all about like the mindset.
Yeah.
And so I saw on Facebook one day, and it kind of like stuck with me and resonated with me. It's your 9 to 5 pays the bills and your 6 to 12 builds the empire.
I love that.
And that is so true with any entrepreneur and business that they have.
Absolutely.
Or side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would never recommend somebody just like dive into a business without having a plan. But if you're doubting it, it's just not. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that there's two kinds of people. There's people that believe in themselves and people that don't.
And seeing like a lot of people who are fresh out of school who like, you know, like to shadow me or follow me and everything and, you know, ask like, well, should I do this? I'm like, well, my opinion, if it was when I was fresh out of school, there's no way in hell I could have done this. I wouldn't have had the mindset right. Also, I have the experience that I'm confident in now.
Yes.
Whereas out of school, you only see so much, you know, you don't see all the different skin types, skin conditions. And sometimes things can go south in the treatment room, you know, and having a team of managers or other experienced estheticians to like turn to in the moments of like, oh crap, what do I do? Whereas when you're on your own, you don't have that. So like getting that experience and that confidence and just knowing how to handle a situation if someone has a reaction, like you're not really taught that stuff in school, for one, because you're not using product harsh enough to cause any kind of damage or reaction in the midst of a moment.
Yes. What were some of the struggles that you had when starting your business as far as personal and just getting your space, being with your fiance or now fiance?
I mean, I guess that was kind of when I first started dating him, and it was really like we kind of kept things pretty quiet for a while just to make sure, you know, we knew we were serious. But he was supportive from day one, like always was.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
Especially because I feel like a lot of people in today's society are so set on like the 9 to 5 guaranteed hours. And like when you go and follow your own dream, everybody's just like, are you sure you want to do that? And it's like, yeah, bitch, I do.
Yeah.
I don't tell anybody anything because I don't want to hear the doubt from other people. I just don't need it.
Well, after so much and like with close friends doing it and some family members, probably you just start doubting yourself and then you get into a different mindset and it just doesn't work.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess the only issue I had when starting up is they put my sink in the wrong spot and I threw a fit about it. And
that's a good issue to have. It was the worst.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I'm like, as I reflect, and I've had people ask me this before, I'm like, honestly, like it was so easy. It just went like, it just happened and there was no problems. And, you know, I was under a non-compete for 90 days, which was probably, I mean, that was hard. Just trying to strategically post also just, you know, on Instagram and social media.
Explain what that is.
Non-compete. So I was not allowed to work and doing the same duties that I did where I was employed for 90 days within a 10-mile radius. And I was 9.3 or 9.4 miles away.
So you could still start the business and build things up, but just not take clients?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of where, like, between October and December, I was just there are good things coming. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Like,
That's kind of what we were doing for the podcast for a little while. Like,
yeah.
I promise it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that just gave me time just to make sure everything was in order, everything was right, get my sheets, get my, everything I needed.
Which I think is like a blessing in disguise. Like, yes, you couldn't take clients, but you got all the like the logistics and business side, which is just as important. You got that taken care of.
100%. Rather than just being overwhelmed with clients. Yes. And then doing the back end stuff all at once. Oh yeah.
So with your engagement and moving in with your fiance now, he has 2 kids. 3 kids. So what is the transition like trying to become a stepmom?
I mean, that was hard. Yeah, because we moved in together in October of last year. And so, that first 3 months was just hard. I felt like I couldn't even like keep up with anything. I felt like I was slacking on my business. I felt like I was slacking at home. I was slacking on being a good girlfriend at the time. I'm like, I cannot give all of me to all of these 3 things 100% and still like keep my sanity.
It's very hard to like transition into new environments, especially one that's so serious.
From one extreme to another. Yeah.
And you want to try to give everybody the best of you because you don't want to disappoint them.
Exactly. And that's what that's one of my biggest things.
Probably.
Yeah. And like, my biggest thing is I always want to give those people around me, whether it's my clients, my boyfriend, or the kids, the best version of me. But sometimes after 8 clients a day, the best version of me is gone. Yeah. There's nothing left. Yes. And then we still have dinner time, bath time. And then me and Jeffrey have time alone together. And I'm like, I'm done. Don't touch me. Leave me alone.
Yeah. But that's also where it's like 50-50. Like some days you'll be 100 and the other person will be 50 and vice versa.
And we figure that out over time.
I think is like the most important.
Oh yeah.
And you're not dealing with just one kid. There's 3. There's 3 children,
and
that
they're
you're
all
having
really
to give your energy to.
So they're 2, 5, and 7. So they're all pretty close in age, especially the 2 older ones. So like, but they're also at such a young age that they're not very self-sufficient. So,
and it's so with Tyler, he has a 2-year-old daughter. We don't have her full time, but we are buying a house. And for me, I think the trickiest thing that's going to be for me is, well, I want to have a good impression on, and so the whole, like, if she gets in trouble, like, do I punish or do I put her in timeout? Like, that whole situation, like, trying to parent a child that isn't biologically mine, that I don't know
where
too
lines
well,
are.
and
you don't know,
like, I don't want to cross lines. I think that will be the trickiest thing for me.
So that was one thing me and Jeffrey really talked about. And I guess I really encouraged him, because for a period of time before him and I moved in together, he was doing the best he could, just a single father having 3 kids plus, the baby, he was doing the best he could, and I can never ever take that away from him. Yeah. But there were so many corners that had been cut. And like bedtimes, kids, they didn't have a bedtime. They never had there was no set schedule.
So they just needed structure.
They needed so much structure. Like, they were literally just every day was a different thing. And so I was like, you need to start implementing the bedtime before we move in together, because I'm not trying to be the biggest bitch of the West here. Yeah. And it's always me that's implementing things all of a sudden, and their lives are switched, flipped upside down. Whereas if you start implementing this, it's going to make the transition a lot smoother. And he did. And he did. But it still was a lot more. There was a lot. It was just a shift for them. It was a shift for me. It was it was new for all of us. So I think after the first of the year, after a good 3 months of like figuring things out, we're finally in our groove. And I feel like things are finally good, finally normal. Yeah. Everyone's happy. Everyone knows what's expected of them. And
they're also like at a good age. I think it would be different if they're like adolescents and like in their teenage years.
Oh my gosh.
Especially with like just like the situation and how everything happened in the past. And so I think it's start them young.
Exactly. And that's what I've told you. That's what my biggest thing was, like, I'm not going to be Miss Cool right off the gate and then all of a sudden crack down on them. That way they know like who I am, what I expect, and
you're being realistic.
I'm being realistic, and I don't want to pick up the pieces by the time they're 15 and 16 and be like, oh crap, wow, we really let so much go. Now we got to crack down on them. Like, that's not going to work. And I think that getting on top of the little things and the behavioral issues, which they're awesome kids, but they're kids. They need direction. They need to be held accountable. And I just was raised by pretty strict parents. And I think that all 3 of my siblings, we all turned out to be pretty good people. So I think that whatever my parents, the way they did things, I mean, it obviously worked.
Yeah.
So I find myself really
Like
becoming my mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good.
Do you have any funny stories about the kids or anything?
Any like weird
recently?
quirks or anything?
I don't know. Something funny.
I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, but right now, Lane, he's just turned 2 in February. He is, I don't know, he's at such a funny age, and I've never been around kids. Like my sister, I'm an aunt as of a year ago. So my sister, so those are the first like kids that I've ever been around, and they're still babies. So Lane is in this like really transitional age where he's like talking more. He's like becoming so aware. Like he's just like becoming this little human, and he's so funny. And I don't know, like just the transition and like him growing up and
just
learning
seeing the different stages.
Yeah, and how quickly he's learning. Like I don't know, this one thing.
Yeah.
I remember I was doing something on my phone and he was hungry, so I laid out some cheese and crackers on his little tray, and he was in his high chair, and I was not paying attention or anything. He was just eating. All of a sudden he started like clapping for himself. He's like, yay. And I look over at him, and he like organized his crackers and cheese in a pattern, like cheese cracker, cheese cracker. I'm like, oh my God, how do you know that? And I was like, oh my God, don't eat that. And I started to take a picture of it. I'm like, that is so cute.
With Tyler's daughter, so I've been exposed to like all ages of kids my whole life. I think in middle school I was babysitting all the neighborhood kids, and my sister also has a 2-year-old daughter. But with Tyler's daughter, she is the smartest little girl I have ever met in my life. She holds actual serious conversations with you. She knows her numbers, her colors. She says the quirkiest shit I have ever heard any child say, and just she's so like genuine and sweet, and it's just crazy.
All, like, and with you being around just her, like it's so wild to see how different each of how they're all so different. Like
personalities.
Yes, like Chloe, the middle child, I can ask her to do anything and she'd help with Grace. Like she'd be like, okay. Whereas if I ask Tough, well, why? Like he questions everything. Like he's all, and I'm like,
how old is he?
7.
Okay. 7.
And so that's why I'm trying to get on top of that before it becomes a problem. Because I'm like, when I say something, I mean it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Like taking it seriously.
Yeah, no, Chloe did something the other day that like almost made me cry. Lane had woken up from his nap, and I mean, for Lane, I'm the only mother figure he's really ever had.
Yes.
And ever will have. So I mean, I really feel like I have a special bond with him, especially because he is so young. But he was really grumpy, woke up from his nap, was crying, couldn't get him to calm down, and I was just doing my thing. Well, let's get you something to eat, and finally she looks up and she's like, you're such a good mommy to us. I was like,
oh, I'd cry.
I would cry right now.
I was like, oh,
Yes.
I will never, like, that's just one of those little moments I will like always cherish and remember. And those are like the parenting moments that are like,
that's what makes it worth it.
It makes it worth it.
The other day, Tyler's daughter woke up from a nap, and we were at his aunt and uncle's house, and she was grumpy all day just because she was in a place that she wasn't familiar with. She wasn't necessarily comfortable there, and she woke up from this nap and she chose me over Tyler.
And you're like, what?
And I'm like, oh. It's like those little like baby milestones that are just makes you so excited for the future, and
you're like, wow, I am important to you.
Yeah,
like I mean, you're obviously important to me, but now it's like reciprocated, it's a mutual feeling now.
Yes. And so like with the situation I'm in, I am just trying to figure out, like, I don't necessarily like want to be her mother. I don't want her to like necessarily call me mom. I do want to be like an important woman figure in her life, and so I think what will be tough for me in the future is trying to get her to like depict the two, like between her mom and me, like.
Well, I just think those are conversations you have. Is her mom have a male in her life?
Yes.
So you'll just have to discuss that with as a families, because who knows, she might, as she grows up, start calling him daddy because kids do that.
They don't know any better.
They don't know any different. And so it's just something you'll talk. I feel like as a family, just like discuss, like, hey, this is happening in our household. Is it happening in yours? If so, like, are we cool with it, or do we need to address it? You know, as long as you guys are all on the same page, I feel like
they're priority. I mean, the kids are always first.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't
especially
think I just hate when people like, well, don't do that to kids, when sometimes things in their minds are so innocent.
They don't know anything.
They don't know anything.
Nothing.
Like,
and it's not like it's just like very genuine and real to them.
It is.
And that's how they see you, and other people should not take it personally if they do get offended by that stuff.
Oh,
it's
for
not
sure.
Like we're in control.
Well, and Chloe, she's just she is like so beyond her years as far as how smart she is. And like she's put this together. The way she always is like, well, I have two mommies. One in heaven that watches over me and one here that takes care of me. And every time like
so
when she
perfect and
says
beautiful.
that, I'm like, you're amazing. And
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, you know, you're so smart. And I never am like, well, you know, I never tell her differently. I'm like,
No.
you know, I just
Yeah.
encourage her little brain to work the way it's already working.
Yeah.
And
which is like the best.
I think that's like, I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I feel like that's how it should be.
Yeah, and like you don't want to like close off that connection that
Yes.
she had, or like the idea.
Yes, yeah,
either.
yeah. Because I mean, mommy is very like still very relevant in all of our lives, and we do, you know, every night when we tuck him in, both Jeffrey and I are tucking him in. We're like, we'll tell mommy that we miss her and love her, and I mean I don't mind. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me.
That's
because
so good too, because I feel like with some people it might.
So I know you just got engaged like
last week.
Like,
Last week.
I know it's been like
What
the
did he
longest
do?
week.
How did he
Okay, so
propose?
he had so many plans. So this is his original plan. Let me just go on this one
Okay.
first because it was so cute.
Okay.
But obviously everything's closed now, so he couldn't follow through with that. Plus the ring was supposed to be done like 6 weeks ago, a month ago. You know, it just wasn't in on time. And so he had 7 letters that he had written throughout for me. Anyways, first letter was when I got up. It was 2, and I already know I would have probably messed up because he was like, drop Tough off at school and then drop the 2 off at daycare, where I always take the 2 to daycare and then Tough at school. So I'm like, I know I probably would have already screwed up because I would have just done my normal routine.
Yeah.
So, and then Jody at daycare would have had a second note, and it was
so like a scavenger.
hunt. And the second note was like, you have a date at 11. The place is open 24 hours. Hint, hint, pancakes. It would have been IHOP, and my mom would have been there. And he's like, and then she would have had a note. It's like, you know, moms are the most important people in your life.
Oh,
you know, like,
Stop.
yeah, I know.
Actually thoughtful.
Yes,
and-
like, oh my God. I was like, when he gave me the letters, I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
Do you think you would have like picked up?
Oh, I would have known.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I
like
think any girl
I
would.
mean, because we've talked about it. Like, we designed the ring together, so like, we like I
You
knew
had
it
the
was
idea,
coming.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then my mom would. Okay, so her note would have been like sending me, you have an appointment, whatever here, and it would have been it was a massage appointment, and in the note was like, the one person that has the healing hands that help your numbing hands, because my hands go numb. I always get massages because of that. And so then my friend Megan, who does my massages, would have had another note.
Yeah.
It's like, you have another date here. One of them, like another extremely important person in your life. It's where we had our first date. So my sister would have been at Chicago. So I was going to meet my sister, and then she was going to have, so it's like, he included all my favorite people, and then another note, and then another note. And then it all ended up happening at the Andover Park, is where I first met the kids too. And that's where he was going to propose. And that's where he did propose. But he just didn't.
Just without all the steps, because
With all the
everything was
steps in between.
closed.
Yeah, because everything's closed. Yeah.
I think for the most part, like every woman knows that it's happening, and I think that's kind of like bittersweet and sentimental, because then you get the whole experience and you remember the whole experience versus like being completely clueless
And
until
blacking
the moment.
out.
Well, and I did want to be like surprised, you know, like and I wanted, you know, just because I'm not someone that's like, I want to know what's happening. You better tell me. I mean,
Yeah.
I need to brush my hair.
No,
With
literally the
that
day he
aspect,
proposed,
it
I had no
gets-
makeup on. I had a hat and my hair was like in a bun. I looked terrible. And I didn't care because
No,
like,
you don't care at that
you know,
moment.
it didn't matter. Like, this is us, you know.
Have you
Real
started
raw.
doing any wedding planning?
My mom has been on my case. Like,
yeah.
we need to get a date set. I don't
set
We'll
a
get to
date.
it.
So
Well, we're wanting to do destination.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's obviously really kind of hard, and everything's in the air right now because we don't know when life is going to be totally back to normal.
Yeah.
But we are wanting to give everybody like a year. That way certain people can have plenty of time to financially prepare for that.
yes.
But I mean, I don't even know. I don't know.
At least you know that. I mean,
Yeah.
If you like need like recommendations or help or anything, I'm sure we can help you.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
so.
Because like, we're leaning towards Cancun just because I know Cancun pretty well. Like we've been there a handful of times. But like a resort, like I don't know, because I want the kids involved in the ceremony.
Yeah.
And we want a resort obviously where it's not adults only, so the kids can actually
Yeah,
be there.
they can be a part of
So,
stuff.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
That's so fun. I love
I got
it.
time now. I just
The
need to
beginning
do it.
stages are the most stressful, but also the best because I feel like that's when the wedding kind of comes
Oh, it's already
together.
been stressful. Like certain people in my well, I would not. I don't go out of the country. I'm like, well, then I guess you won't come.
It's not for them. It's for you.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Like me and Jeffrey are like solid. Like, okay, if people can't come, it's not personal. If they want to be there, they will be there. I know that if I were to plan a wedding here in town, like the big shebang, like I would normally want, I would slack off somewhere, and it would probably be at work.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to do that. I want it to be easy, effortless, affordable, and just a celebration of love, because that's what it is.
Yeah. Tyler and I, we always talked about it. And with being a photographer here, I've been to all the venues so many times. I've been to all the bridal shops and seen all the dresses. And it's like, I want it to be like unique, and like, I don't want to have something that I've seen a million times. I want it to be
100%.
special for me. And so we always talked about a destination wedding too.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to
100% encourage all destination. Just small groups of people, go somewhere.
Yeah.
More
Those
intimate,
who want to
the
be
more
there will be there,
memorable.
and those who don't. And that's fine. We'll we'll have a videographer. You'll see the video.
Yeah.
You can still send us a gift.
See, and that's one thing I'm also more reassured doing the destination, because we're already living together. Like, we don't really need any household stuff.
Yeah.
Because we are good. I mean, obviously there's things I'm sure we'll
just send a Visa card with money on it.
Yeah.
It's like, it might be like less, what's the word I'm looking for?
Personal?
Yeah.
Personable?
It wouldn't be as personable, but it's like the most ideal gift that you can give.
Yeah.
I think.
For my sister's wedding, I remember she asked for like Lowe's gift cards, because they were already living together, but they were wanting to do a lot of upgrades around their house.
That's cool.
So that was like what they like were telling everybody, and I think that really benefited her a lot.
Let's get into facial stuff.
Facial stuff, like every woman on this earth wants to know. So, what's the difference between all the like commercial grade stuff, like Walmart stuff like that, versus what
so the specific line I carry, I mean, it is medical grade. I do firmly believe like you get what you pay for. I chose this line. I really did my research. I wanted to find something that wasn't totally saturated in the Wichita area, something that made me stand out a little bit, and really brand myself with this line. And a lot, I mean, you get what you pay for. Like, you can go to Walmart and get a cleanser, and it might have, some of the ingredients in it, but it's not going to have the shelf life or the amount, like the same percentage of active ingredients as something more medical grade. Like, the thing with medical grade, it goes through all this FDA testing and approval. Like, it does have longer shelf life. It's just going to be a lot more beneficial, whereas something you get over the counter.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I love about like the line I carry, it's fairly affordable. Like, I mean, you can go to Walmart and get a cleanser for $20. The cleansers I carry are in the $30 price point. So I'm like, why not spend an extra $10? For one, you'll have to use half the amount of product, because it is a lot more active and potent,
and it's not water based.
It's not yeah. So it's just gonna, in the long run, I'm like, you actually save money by investing in the right stuff.
It's kind of like you spend all this money on your hair, but you use like Walmart brand shampoo and
conditioner. Or you're like, you spend all this money on your coffee every day. Like, think about it. Like, I think
Brittany and
you don't get like 4 coffees. You just paid for your skincare for them.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. And I'm like, it's a matter of priority. And if it's not a priority, that's totally fine. Teach their own. Like, that's fine. But it is my job as a professional to educate you.
Yes.
And let you know.
Brittany and I like probably wholeheartedly understand that with photography and videography. And there's a saying with weddings, if you have a $1,000 wedding but hire a $20,000 photographer, your wedding's going to look like it's $20,000, versus if you hire a $1,000 photographer and you have a $20,000 wedding, it's going to look like shit. And that's just like in any aspect
to me,
of
like
life.
Photography, that's like all you got left.
Yeah.
Is the photos and the videos. Like, that's all that's remaining. The flowers are dead, the food is gone, the dress is boxed up. All you have left is
Well, yeah. I agree with that.
I don't know if I'm making this up. I might be, but I've gone to like people's websites and looked at like the facial options. Why is it important to get like a custom facial done instead of like, I want that with that? Because when I look at them, I'm like, I don't know what that.
Well, and that's one thing that I guess as a little learning curve I did. When I first opened my business, I thought it'd be really fun to have like cutesy fun names for like each skin type and like different kinds of facials. And it like, I had so many people flooding my inbox. Well, I don't know which one to get. I'm sensitive. Yeah, I'm dry.
I think I messaged you like a couple weeks ago or like in December, like, because I was like, I don't know what to get. Like, I don't know.
And it just,
because I don't even know my own skin.
I think it was
really.
like 3 months. I'm like, I gotta freaking change my menu. This is so annoying.
Some people know, but
when it was like, and my response is like, well, technically everything I do is customized. I just did that for a cute menu. And then I'm like, I just need to change like 3 different options. One that include, in my descriptions, they, the first one is more to the point, I kind of explain what gets done. And then the second one has more add-ons or upgrades. And then third one has like everything, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, just reading the description, I feel like is always beneficial. I try to write my, descriptions to be like to the point to answer those questions. And I do kind of feel like they have, because the questions have stopped. People are booking now like accordingly. And I love it. Good.
I had been on a few like skincare websites, and it's like, oh, we'll send you what you need based on this questionnaire, and it like asks you these questions, and it's like, is your skin dry or whatever, and I'm like,
both.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have no clue. Sometimes it's a little bit. I don't know.
Is it some people combination? Then you might be oily in the T-zone,
and that's why I'm like, I feel like somebody needs to look at my face and tell me that, because I answered this, and I'm like, I think I answered that wrong.
Mine changes on a daily basis too. So if it's like, oh well, it's dry today,
and that is why it is important to get routine skincare, because your skin will change all the time at different seasons. Different times a year, different levels of stress. I mean, it's going to be different no matter what you're going through or what the weather's like.
Yeah. So there's like so many different aspects that you could talk about, like what you need for dry skin, what you need for oily skin. But I think a big problem that a lot of people deal with that's very like common is acne. So, and there's different types of acne. So what would you, for me, I had a lot of acne growing up, and I have scars, and I still have some acne. What would you recommend for people who do have acne, or is that too generalized?
No, that's not generalized at all. For one, I would recommend a facial. And I always kind of ask, like, what kind of acne? So some people who have maybe one breakout on their chin when they're having their period, oh my gosh, I have acne. I'm like, no, you're having a hormonal breakout. And that they don't know that though. So that's why I always encourage, like, let me come in, let me see you, like, let me see what's going on.
Customization is so important.
Exactly. And I do have one facial that is like targeted towards more acne clients, which
sign me up.
Yes, because I added that one on later. Once I simplified my menu, I'm like, all right, I need an acne facial. Like, that one stands. Like, I need to bring that back. And I did. I mean, 2 ingredients I love for acne is benzoyl peroxide and salicylic. So those would, be 2 recommendations I would probably have right out of the gate. But, if a lot of people who have acne can be pretty sensitive too. So some of those 2 ingredients used too often can really make your sensitivity 100% worse. And that's not like slow and like, I mean, I've heard this with so many people in this industry, like slow and steady wins the race. Because you just can't transition or change one skin condition in one treatment, because your skin's going to freak out.
So in high school, they had put me on like topical creams and pills at the same time.
Did you ever go on Accutane?
So I went on Accutane January 2019 to like May or June. And I had the best skin I've ever had in my whole entire life. It's like better than baby skin. And I did my first cycle, and then I was off of it, and then last fall I had the worst acne I've ever had. Granted, I was a photographer working at the hospital. I was in a program at school. I was under a lot of stress. But it would just not go away, and now I have so much scarring from it. And so I don't necessarily want to get back on Accutane just because of the side effects.
Well, and even just looking at you right now, I see the scarring. I see the little bit of breakouts. I think that's something I could help. I mean, I think any esthetician who knows how to treat acne would know how to help you.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, and I think Accutane, and sometimes like estheticians and dermatologists don't think the same way. A lot of dermatologists are like, here, take this. Whereas as an esthetician, I'm like, all right, let's find the root of the problem and fix the actual root.
Trial and error.
Like let's fix the problem itself, not give you a pill to just cover it up, or like to just dismiss
want,
your,
like,
You have to
so
keep taking
medication
it.
is like, let's get
Well,
rid of it right
Accutane,
now. But
you
then,
can't take forever.
Yeah. And then like, I feel like estheticians are like, let's find the root. Let's do preventative measures. And that's what
let's
I
keep you
need.
on it. Yeah. Like, let's keep you on like the skincare that you need for your skin. And like, all, you know, people who experience acne and have oily skin, bottom line is you're probably going to be needing to get facials every 4 to 6 weeks on a regular basis. And that's just you. And if it's important to you, it's important to me to help you with that, because oily skin, large pores, breakouts, like they're going to pop up, and properly extracting and healing those is important. That way you're not picking and poking at your skin at home every night
all the time,
which is causing your scarring.
I don't touch my face.
Well, especially now, like I don't want to touch my face, and it's so hard because I touch it every day, all the time.
I know, it's so funny that like all these memes of like, don't touch your face. I'm like, we've been, as an esthetician, I've been telling you people this for years.
Yeah.
Finally,
it just
it's
takes
trendy.
a worldwide pandemic to make them stop.
I know.
So how often should people get facials? You said 4 to 6 weeks.
I always tell people like where I start the life cycle of a facial is 4 weeks. So after about 4 weeks, everything we did 4 weeks ago is no longer benefiting you. So if you're wanting to kind of upkeep those results, like come back in, like maintenance. But like, I understand everyone's budgets, their schedules, everything is different. So the best place to start is at least every quarter, you know, once in the fall, once in the spring, summer, winter, just because every single season your skin may be doing something totally different, and it's just going to have different needs, different times of the year. There's some people that I see on a regular basis. I'm like, you have great skin. We're just basically maintaining you. We're dermaplaning you every month, doing that deep exfoliation. Then I'm like,
it's like hair. You have to go get your roots touched up.
Yeah. It's like every 6 to 8 weeks.
You just don't see it.
Yeah.
As
I'm like,
promptly.
you're not someone that necessarily needs to come in 4 weeks, but if you want, like, and this is your way of self-care, like, I support it. I love it. But if I don't feel like you need it, I'll push you to the 6 and 8 weeks, just because also I am getting pretty busy and I want to accommodate all my clients and be able to, you know, if I had every single person that I see coming in every 4 weeks, I wouldn't be able to see everybody.
I feel like a lot of people do get facials just because they think it's like going and getting a massage. Like you just need it once every little while or like once a year, but it's not. And I feel like they don't keep up with it because they don't get that instant gratification that you get with like your hair, your nails, your eyelashes.
Well, if I were to do a facial where you in your head think you're going to get the instant gratification, you're going to be messaging me in a couple days because your skin's not feeling right.
Yeah.
Just because you just can't do too much at once. And, you know, like, I mean, I did have a little bit of a learning curve, learning my line, you know, truly, like in every different skin type, you know, because it is a lot more aggressive than anything I've ever worked with. But now I know how it works. I know the home care, like, I don't know.
Yeah. What are chemical peels, and does everybody need them?
I just did one 3 days ago.
I didn't notice until now, but I do see
I'm
it now.
peeling.
I know it's just because I've had them before.
Yeah, I'm peeling.
Does everybody need them?
I mean, anybody can, I mean, not everybody. I'm sorry. Let me like hold up here. So if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, there's a lot of contraindications for a chemical peel. Chemical peels are probably the quickest and most efficient way to see results. A lot of people are scared of them because of like, I don't know. Have you ever seen Sex and the City when Samantha got her chemical peel?
It's scary.
Yeah,
looking.
like that's not how it looks.
You have a sunburn almost and your skin just couple layers are peeling
I mean,
back.
if you told me it was going to help, I wouldn't care what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I mean, I always like give people like, I guess more information. That way they know everything. That way they don't freak out and they're like, oh my gosh, why am I flaking? Well, you got a chemical peel.
Yeah, I feel like, so with chemical peels or even like lasers, laser treatments, it's going to look worse than what you think it's going to look like, honestly. But it benefits
and
you
sometimes
so
not
much.
always either. Because I mean, I have a handful of different, which is also new to me. Everywhere I've worked, I've always been used to having just like one peel, maybe two in my cabinet, where now I think I have like 5 to 7, which I have just options. And, you know, I can go as strong as you're comfortable with. And, you know, I've had a handful of people that have come in for their first one that are terrified. I'm like, you know what? We're going to keep it light then. You might have a little bit of flaking, but you're not going to have the huge sheets of skin falling off.
That's crazy.
I
would just be like, give me the best
if I'm
one.
paying
I
for
don't
it,
know.
like let me. Yeah, exactly.
I had the huge sheets. I think that's why it was like so weird
Intense.
for me. And
Yes.
I also worked at the hospital like when it was like the worst peel?
I guess I don't really go
and
anywhere.
I guess
so
I just
care.
have like clients that are super awesome. They're like, well, if I'm flaking like crazy, I'll just like talk you up. I'm like, thank you. They're like, no, I got a chemical peel. Go see Whitney. She's amazing. I have so many clients that are like that, and I
Word
absolutely
of mouth
love.
is huge.
Yes, it's amazing, and it's so refreshing to hear people going through that with their skin. When I know it's uncomfortable, it's embarrassing sometimes when you're in public and your face is falling off. You kind of, the average person may not know what that is. I feel like a lot more people do nowadays than they did maybe 5 years ago. But still, like, especially people working in a hospital who are dealing with older patients, and older people tend to just say what they want.
Yeah.
Yes, they say what's on their mind.
Yes. So, and it can come off very hurtful when people are like, what did you do to your face?
This is super random, but you have this picture on your page of like your transformation of your skin, and I've showed it to like 1,000 people. I
showed it to me.
I showed it to everybody. I showed it to my
amazing.
mom. I know you from when we were younger.
Yeah.
We played softball. I showed her a picture of you now, and she's like, "Oh my god, oh my god." And
Yes,
I'm like, I
and
showed it to
sometimes
everybody.
I still see pictures of me in high school. I'm like, it is wild that I'm 28 years old and my skin is better than it was when I was a 18-year-old teenager. Just because, I mean, I worked at a tanning salon. And I think that's kind of that's kind of been helpful for me building myself and my brand, because it's like I have been able to reverse and correct signs of aging before I'm seeing them. But pigment is, sun damage, that's going to be the biggest contribution to fine lines, sagging skin, the loss of the collagen and elastin, just that loose skin where you start to see wrinkles and everything. The thing is with people, I don't know, I've had a lot of friends who still lay outside and tan. They don't wear their sunscreen. They find a fine line, or they're starting to see a dark spot, and they're like, this happened this summer. I'm like, no, it didn't. That happened probably 10 years ago.
Yeah. So what would you say, a lot of people don't know the difference between a chemical peel and like a pixel or Fraxel?
Fraxel's kind of like an old technology, more laser.
Okay. So when would you recommend like the laser treatment? Like what's the difference between each one, and when should somebody get a laser treatment rather than a peel?
I mean, everybody's different, and that's probably something I would just discuss with you at your time, like with your time with me. One thing that's really important about my job is being realistic about expectations, because as an esthetician, I can only do so much.
Yeah. Like,
I cannot put Botox in your forehead, and if you have movement in your forehead and you don't like it, I'm not going to talk up this chemical peel, because it's not going to make your forehead not move. And it's going to retexturize your skin. It's going to make your skin itself feel better, but it's not going to fix that line, because that line is from expressions, and you're constantly going to be smiling. You're going to be happy. You're going to be upset. Like, you're constantly going to be making expressions. So I am more happy, like, especially with pigment. I'm like, all right, we've treated this. It's lightened up quite a bit, but I can't get this any lighter. The best bet for you, you know what I mean, is to go see. And I have a great, a handful of people, a lot of professionals in the area that I know that I could refer my clients to for lasers or injectables that I feel comfortable they'll be in they'll get the same care that they would get with me, but on another level that I can't deliver.
Yeah, you don't want to give like people false hope and get their expectations
and
up, and then it would look bad on your business, just like any other business.
Yeah, and that's that practice what you preach. I send people to these people because I've been to them. Yeah. I've experienced them. I feel like you would be a good match with this person. They're going to keep it real with you. If they don't feel like they're going to be able to lighten that spot, they're going to tell you themselves. But I know I've done the most I can to lighten this. It's not going. Yeah, do. It's exactly what exactly.
So what are 3 things that people can do maybe at home to enhance their glow or their skin, their overall?
One of the best things you can do, that is probably the cheapest thing you can do, is wear sunscreen every single morning. Just get in the habit of putting it on. Cleansing your skin. I know a lot of people don't wash their face before bed, and it just I don't understand that. Yeah. Like, I couldn't sleep well if I had a face full of makeup and like my pillow
face would just be so oily.
Yeah, I just feel like it's gross. Like,
so with sunscreen, I don't know how to word this.
The sunscreen that's in your foundation doesn't count.
No. So if you were to use, there's one analogy. Let me think of it. You would have to use like 5 times the amount of like your foundation to actually get the coverage that you need. So sunscreen is a step, not an ingredient.
Gotcha.
Okay. Just simple as that.
So, are you talking about sunscreen that people put on at the lake, or
See,
is
that's
there like certain?
there's more certain facial, like, and I don't know, like I have with my line, I want to say I have like 4 to 5 different facial sunscreens. Some for like more drier skin that has a little bit more hydration in it. Some with more of a tint to
there's
it.
different types.
Yeah,
Anything's better than nothing.
Yes, absolutely.
As a last resort, go get some sunscreen that you use at the lake.
Yeah, I mean,
last resort, people.
I wouldn't want the aerosol ones. Like I mean, I've used those on my body, especially at the lake. I probably wouldn't put that on my face.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't want to inhale it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sunscreen, cleansing, and what's the third one?
Oh, probably that's tough. I don't know if I would say exfoliating. Sunscreen, cleansing, and probably a vitamin C. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
For everyone. That's probably a really safe answer.
Like a topical one,
yes,
or like
topical.
a pill?
So vitamin C is kind of one of those things that works really well with sunscreen. It's not the same. It doesn't protect you from getting a sunburn, but it does protect you from environmental damage. So like I always tell people, unless you like have lived in a bubble or you're currently living in a bubble, which no one is actually doing that, there's pollutants, there's all kinds of crap in the air that cause environmental damage to our skin. So vitamin C helps kind of take those and push them back out into the world, protecting you from all that free radical damage.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of like like retinol is probably one of my other answers, but like retinol could be very scary for some people.
Okay. So apart from the skin, let's talk about like Botox and fillers. Are those things that you do?
I do not. You would have to be a nurse. I want to say, or I mean, I know you could be a nurse, but I still feel like you would have to be as a nurse working under a physician. Yes. As an esthetician, I could not do it under a physician. Okay. Even so,
but you can send people to places.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Okay. So, do you get Botox and do you get fillers?
I do have filler in my lips. I've gotten Botox before. I need to, but also like I haven't felt last time I did Botox was in my forehead. It's starting to bother me.
We're very interested in Botox and fillers because we're both interested in doing it. So.
Oh, I highly recommend both. Like, I mean, I just had one of my regulars finally, like, she's like starting to worry about the lines around her eyes and her forehead lines. I'm like, I can't fix these. I've been telling you.
I want like Botox in my lips, and then I want like a jaw filler.
What do you mean jaw filler?
You can get them like around here.
Fillers that are like right here.
You actually can just go in and get like, they'll look at your face and be like, oh, like I have one of my eyebrows is like a little lower, and they'll fill to like just make your face more symmetrical.
Yeah,
that's what I'm interested in.
And so with your jaw,
but I think you're like, I think people's like different symmetry issue on their face, like that's what makes you you.
Yeah, that's
true. And I feel like
you don't want to change it too much.
The right injector will be like, I'm not changing that too much. I don't know, like, because I don't feel like anybody has a perfectly symmetrical face, and if they do, like, good for them.
Yeah. It's like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie that have a symmetrical face.
Yeah,
it's like a fact. You should look it up.
See, I don't know, like I don't know, like I'm all about like all kinds of cosmetic things.
Like,
isn't that
Kybella? That's more of like a fat dissolving thing. So like filler. Okay, so what filler does is it actually puts in volume. Botox is a neurotoxin that actually prevents movement. So I feel like people like, oh my God, you can tell she got Botox, and they're talking about filler probably. Whereas Botox, I think it's a bad rep because I think Botox is amazing.
Botox has a terrible rep.
It does. Because everybody's like, oh, there's
just celebrities that have gone it too much, and I think that's where other people get it. Well,
and the thing with Botox, you can get too much. There is a way, but like if you have Botox done right, no one notices. Not a single soul. You forget you have it done until your forehead starts moving again. Yeah. You're like, oh, there it is. Yep, it's time to go back.
Yeah. Okay. And so
Kybella, what that does, it like dissolves the fat right here under the jaw.
I need that. I just have like
but I've never had Kybella. I've had friends that do it, that have, and I feel like a handful of treatments is what, like at least 2 or 3 to see results.
I was gonna say I don't think it's a one and done. I've heard about it.
Like they like wrap your face, and it like
no, it's just like shots that go in. It's like a handful of shots that just go into your, what is this area? Jawline, chin, before the neck, but before the chin.
It's where the double chin is. That's where my second chin lives. It's like
for real. Okay, so what is your favorite facial to give?
So.
Just personally,
I like my Elite facial or my Nano Infusion facial just because they both include dermaplaning, and dermaplaning is probably one of my favorite things to do. I think I do that on 90% of my clients. Just because it's so fun. Like, it's for me, it's like, I know you're going to absorb all the good ingredients after this. Your skin's going to be super, super smooth. Your makeup's going to go on flawlessly.
It's so interesting to like watch dermaplaning.
Oh, it is. I love it.
You can just see everything like
just coming off. Yeah.
I want to get it, but since I have like little
the
spurts
breakouts.
of acne,
Yeah. See, and that's when I say that 90%, the 10% I don't is acne
the
clients.
unlucky 10%.
But that doesn't mean we can't get you there. Because
I
I have recently had a client who has graduated to dermaplaning, and she was so excited. She was getting my problem solver facial for like, I don't know, 4 months in a row. And I was like, girl, I'm ready to dermaplane you. She's like, I graduated.
That's going to be me this summer, hopefully.
Yes.
So just by like glancing at our skin, I know we kind of have makeup on, and this is just like something that we want to know personally, not necessarily for our listeners.
Nobody else cares except for us.
Yeah. Glancing at our skin, which facial would benefit us individually? Like,
so I guess I've really dived into your skin a lot more. You would benefit from a chemical peel, or at least a series of peels, or the problem solver facial. If you're not quite ready to commit to the chemical peel, problem solver, that's awesome. We'll start there.
I've done chemical peels before. I love them.
Yes. Yeah. Because one thing with the chemical peel, like say, for example, salicylic acid is a great ingredient for treating acne. So most like skincare products or even just like professional products have like a pretty like 5 to 10% of that ingredient, whereas a chemical peel is going to be more to like 20 to 25%. So you're getting that higher percentage. That's why you're going to have that flaking, that peeling, that like cell turnover, because it's just going to be such an increased amount of that ingredient, which is ultimately going to treat the problem a lot quicker and more efficiently.
Well, the way I see it also is like you're already spending money on a facial. Why not spend the extra money? That way in the future you won't have to spend
as much. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to you would benefit from if you're wanting to just do a facial, problem solver, or peel. I mean, Brittany.
What about me?
Brittany,
let me get closer.
I don't know. What are your like?
Let me turn the lights on
give me 3 things about your skin that you don't like.
I feel like my coloring, like I have like blotchier kind of skin, and then I get psoriasis spots sometimes.
So you're pretty dry.
In some places,
like all of like on your face, or just more like
on
your
my
body?
face too. I'll get like a spot here and like here. That's about it.
That's about it. Okay.
I don't get acne very much.
You do have good skin.
Every once in a while I'll get them down here, but I don't ever really get like poppable.
Well,
I feel like you have like very like texturized skin.
Yeah, it needs to be smoother, like a baby's butt.
Dermaplaning. I would do the Elite facial because with you having a little bit of psoriasis, I would feel really comfortable doing the jelly mask after dermaplaning.
Ooh, I saw pictures of that.
So some people after dermaplaning, that's just a pretty intense exfoliation when you probably like, if you've never really had professional exfoliation or really don't exfoliate on a regular basis, you might be like a little bit more dry, more, you might have a little bit of sensitivity or just might have a little bit of discomfort afterwards in the upcoming days. That way that jelly mask tells me it's just kind of like that buffer, like ensuring that you don't have any issues, you're not dry, you're not flaky, you're not itchy. It just kind of vacuum seals all the ingredients I put under it. It's super, super soothing. It lowers the temperature of the skin, so it just calms it right back down.
It looks really
It feels amazing.
I always see videos on Instagram of like before and afters, and they peel it off, and it just is so satisfying. And so Brittany and I are probably going to schedule an appointment for the same day and then come together and
I'll
just
let
hang
you know
out
when
and
I'm
talk.
open again.
Yes. Yeah, for real.
Tell us what your why is, like why you do what you do, why you think skincare is so important.
Well, I'm a firm believer. I practice what I preach. I have seen my own skin change in a matter of years, and like my personal skin transition did not happen in 1 year, in 1 week, 1 day. Like it's happened because I've committed to it. And that's kind of what I see all the time. People who have something about their face or about their skin that they just don't like. And I want to give people that confidence back that I have given myself, and, like just being able to help people, and I love what I do. There's never been like days where I'm kind of bored with it or I'm like, I don't want to do this today. It's just,
like
it's just always been exciting for me. And with being someone who never really like found anything interesting, never really did well in school, never really had it, I just wasn't like into anything. And for this one to just really stick over like, 7-8 years now, I'm like, this is just must be what I'm supposed to do.
Well, and I know it goes like deeper than it just being like a relaxing facial. Like for me, I think when I was in high school, I had really bad acne, and it like completely shifted my confidence. And I always cared about like what I looked like.
You
and
always felt like you had to put all this makeup on too.
Yeah.
Which ultimately isn't good for your skin.
And cover, and you still can't cover. So you cover some more. And like when I was on Accutane, I felt so good. I wasn't worried about it. And it's just one of those small little things that people have about themselves and their appearance. And I know like we appreciate people like you who, you know what you're doing and you're realistic, and it helps us also.
Good. Well, I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like you're one of the only people I know that does this, aside from like the two bigger like companies in Wichita. Like I don't know
I think
anybody
you're
else.
like the only small business vibe type.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like solo esthetician.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are some of your like future goals as far as business? Do you have anything else you're reaching towards?
I do anticipate that I will like no longer be able to see new clients, which like breaks my heart. Like that's not, and so I do hopefully want to expand. I have so many younger estheticians that do follow me, that seek my advice, and they're like, where do I work? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I wish I could
just work by myself.
I just would employ you all, and teach you my ways. And then, cause I do think that is something that sets me apart, is I'm extremely thorough, and just working with other estheticians or just getting other services from people. Like I don't get facials from people. I just take my stuff home and do it myself, because no one's going to do it how I do it.
Yeah.
Or do it up to my level of expectations, that I'm just so anal. So I do hopefully want to expand one day. Obviously, I don't know when. I would like to get married first, because I think if I started a bigger business, planned a wedding, like all the, like I think after we get married will be kind of when I take that a little bit more seriously. But I would like to open or expand a little bit. Or even like I've thought about just bringing another esthetician in to work under me in the hours I'm not there. I just haven't really done it yet. I'm not ready to share my space yet.
Yeah. So I think I just have one more question for you. Since you're a small business and you built it up and everything, and it's just been you, what advice would you give to somebody who not necessarily wants to be an esthetician, but like wants to create a business from their side hobby? Like what advice would you give?
Find what makes you you and go with it. Like find something that makes you stand out. And I don't know, I guess that just kind of came naturally, and that's really been fun. I think as far as owning my own business is like branding myself behind it. People want to see that. People like, if you don't have a face behind the business, they're like, well, when they walk in, they're like, who am I meeting?
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah. But just whatever makes you, like thrive off of it. Find, like brand yourself, like get a vibe that is you and go.
People always think like on social media, I always thought when I first started out that people were going to think that my life was boring and that I was boring, and I didn't think I was going to be able to relate to the type of people I wanted to relate to. And actually, when I post on social media, and I post like on Instagram, and I post a picture of myself, or I always try to show my face every day, just so people can understand my voice, and when they read my posts, they can hear my voice saying it, and I get so much more
interaction,
like inquiries, like business. I
because I seem more relatable. Like people know that I drink a lot of beer. I love Bud Light. Like if you want to bring drinks to your session, bring drinks to your session. Bring your dogs. I don't care, because it's related to you, not me. But at least people. It's kind of like with what you said. You want to be real and realistic, and you want people to know who you are, and that is so important as a business owner.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you 100%.
And it builds trust.
And I have had more. I will say I did have a transition kind of in my clientele base. When I worked for someone else, I was seeing a different type of clientele, and I did have a lot of those people follow me, and I love and adore that. Like I love them. They're the OGs. Yes. But I've gained a lot of new clientele that is different than I've ever seen before, because it's like people my age. Like I feel like I didn't do this on purpose, but I've made skincare trendy. Like, and I just think it's this day and age anyways, just being proactive about your health, it's just all a lot trendier nowadays than it was 10 years ago.
Yes. And self-care is very on trend right now.
Yes. And like, even just like tanning, it's not cool anymore. Whereas when we were in high school, it was way cool.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot younger clientele, and that's super fun too, because I'm able to just vibe with people. It's like I'm hanging out with my friends all day.
Yeah.
but like they're not. I mean, they are my friends, but they're also my clients. You know,
it makes it way more fun.
It does. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all that we have, and we appreciate you sitting down with us and telling us your story and all your tips and tricks.
Of course,
It's always
been
hard
fun,
sitting down talking to somewhat strangers about your life and
Oh
your
no, I don't. Yeah,
business.
I'm an open book, so
We love
I'm
that.
happy to share.
Well, tell everyone how to find you online.
So my Facebook page is just Skin by Whitney. Same thing with Instagram. It's at Skin by Whitney. That's the best way to find me. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a direct message.
Her page is awesome. It's all pink and fun.
Yes,
It is.
pink is like that's why I wanted a pink stone.
Pink, yeah.
I know, I'm just like
diamond.
pink
And
is
your
like
cup
my
is
favorite.
pink
Yeah, I know. It's my brand.
You're very on brand in your whole life.
I really do. Yeah,
It relates to you.
Yes, and I like it. It's the things I like, so why not surround myself with it?
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have. You can find us at sideboobs.sidehustles. Find me, Brittany, at Roaming Reverie.
And me, Shelby, at Hound and Honey Photo on Instagram.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Peace and blessings.
Bye. Bye. Stop saying that.